How to find remote work that doesn't suck. Welcome back, besties. If you are chasing the remote work opportunity, but everything feels wrong for you and the opportunities that you're finding may be a little scammy, maybe just not quite aligned, you are not alone. I'm going to take you through my remote work roadmap in this episode. But first, I want you to know that Talkspace is now covered by TRICARE. That means online talk therapy is available to you and it's covered by TRICARE. So there's a lot going on in the world right now. And if you're the one holding it together, like most military spouses are, that means pulling in your career, your kids, the logistics, and everybody's calendar, it's very easy to push your own needs to the bottom of that list. But TRICARE is now covering Talkspace online therapy. You can meet privately and virtually with a therapist. I signed up, I got matched in under 3 hours, and I had my first session in under 5 days. So that means you, your spouse, and your kids over the age of 13 can connect with a licensed therapist in just a few days. So if you are ready to do this for yourself, head over to talkspace.com/military, and I will drop that link in the show notes for you too. I'm Kimber Hill, active duty spouse, and I'm sharing how I navigate my military spouse lifestyle. I cover topics like remote work, investing in real estate, and how to maximize military benefits that we all have access to. Hit subscribe and consider me your MilSpouse bestie. Okay, let's dive in. How to find remote work that doesn't suck. I wanted to do this episode. Our community has exploded. We've got hundreds of thousands of military spouses who have joined VirtForce, and veterans, of course, too, and dependents, and we love it. But a lot of you have the exact same question. A lot of us are starting in the same place, which is, okay, I've realized that remote work is what I want and what I need, but where do I start? How do I do this? So this episode is the first in a series where I'm guiding you from A to Z, from starting your search to negotiating for your opportunity and your offer letter, okay? This episode is how to even find it. All right, pulling up my notes so I don't miss anything because this is information download. Number one, you've got to decide what you want to do before you go looking. I know that sounds elementary, but here's the biggest problem. A lot of our members don't understand that remote is not an industry. Okay, that's our first misconception. I think a lot of people come to the remote space and they say, I'm ready for remote. You tell me what I can do. That's remote. Well, the reality is you can do almost anything in a remote capacity. So remote is not the industry. The industry is what energizes you. What are you naturally good at? What problems do you love solving? So if you're unsure, think about roles in customer service, tech support, HR, marketing, sales, project coordination. These are very popular in the remote world. If you're unsure, chances are you might be out of the workforce for a bit. If you're sure, then you've likely got some form of career history and you're ready to transition and apply it to remote. Both places are good to be in, and this entire episode will address both places. So what I recommend that you do is make a list of 3 things that you could see yourself doing in a remote way. This is going to come in handy in future installments of this series. So when I'm talking about what are your 3 things that you could do in remote, or what are your 3 things that you could do in your career, know what they are. So take a moment, jot that down, pause this episode. Let's think about what they are. All right, if you've got that, let's approach the remote work search. So when it's time to search for a position that is remote, you're looking on job boards, you're looking on LinkedIn, you're looking on search engines. don't just type in remote job. There are a series of keywords that you can use, not necessarily all at one time, but these are different ways that you can look for things that are going to provide you some flexibility. Work from home, work from anywhere, telecommute, national, hybrid, and remote. Work from home, work from anywhere do indicate consistently remote positions. Telecommute and hybrid, these are going to infer that you need to live within a specific radius of an office and be able to go into the office as needed. Telecommute and hybrid can often mean at least once a week you're in the office. Sometimes it's as little as once every 3 months, but initially the time in office is a little bit higher. National, a lot of our corporate partners do not have remote as a functionality on their internal job boards. And it's hard for their ATS systems, for whatever reason. Why they haven't fixed this, I couldn't tell you. I mean, remote's been around forever, but their ATS system does not use the word remote. It does not use the word work from home, but they will use words like national or United States, sometimes remote Oregon, because there is a city there named remote. But knowing that you can search those, and if something says national, that means you could potentially be eligible for hire in any state. Restrictions. Some industries, many industries actually, will not let you work outside of the continental United States. If you are outside of the continental United States, and I'm not talking about Guam, Hawaii, or Puerto Rico, I'm talking about being in like Germany, Japan, Korea, etc. If you are in those locations, you may actually do better standing yourself up as a small business owner and independent contractor and advertising your services to other industries and other businesses that could potentially use you. Being Oconus, you are less likely to find remote positions in the continental United States because it's not because they don't want to hire you or they don't think that you can do it. It has a lot to do with the challenges the position may put on you while you're in a different time zone, which can often be an unfair disadvantage to you. But more importantly, regulations. There are so many privacy and data safety regulations in many different industries that you being remote could put their clients at risk for because you are in a more compromised location. So for that context, there are different ways to approach this if you are Oconus. Okay, the best job boards to use. Number one, you already know I'm gonna say VirtForce. Here's why. You will not get any closer to actively hiring and actively interviewing positions than the remote jobs at virtforce.us, jobs.virtforce.us. Lots of reasons why. I'm gonna go over a few for you now. First, let me compare and tell you what is really happening on those public job boards that have hundreds of thousands of listings, or those job boards that you're paying for that have all of these listings. Companies and employers don't always have open, active roles that they're hiring for, but they have an inkling that maybe in the next 90 days to 6 months, if Q2, Q4 numbers look just right, we might be able to hire someone. That's what's happening when we have all of these hundreds of thousands of positions populating and you're applying to 100 a week or 100 a month and you're not getting any replies. You're landing in positions that are just kind of farming you for their own talent community so that maybe one day they can potentially reach out to you. That is not what we do on our boutique job board at VirtForce, okay? Every position that's there is hiring the month that it was posted. Interviews are happening usually the week following its post date, okay? Every employer who participates there is using us because they want to segment out which roles in their company are strongly aligned with remote military spouses versus which roles are strongly aligned with communities that can come in and work on site consistently. So if you're looking for remote work, you have got to be at the job board If you have not signed up yet, stop hesitating. Jobs.virtforce.us. The positions change weekly, okay? It's a boutique board. You're never going to find more than, 50 listings there. And all of them are actively hiring, so take all of them very seriously. But the positions change weekly. I never know. I have no idea what we're going to get next week, but they range from entry level to C-level, and it is highly varied, a good opportunity for you. The other thing, to utilize the VirtForce community, you create your membership at jobs.virtforce.us. You need to turn on your email alerts for us. We email you from virtforce.io, and that email address you need to move into your primary. You need to star it. You need to turn on your notification bell so that every time I have a job, because I will tell you as soon as I get a job, I will tell you. And even if it's not right for you, what I want you to do is review it and forward it to someone who it is right for. That is what community is. We're here to help each other, and that is the purpose of the VirtForce email alert. What I also want you to do is join us, chat with us on social. You can join our Facebook group, over 80,000 military spouses who were in that Facebook group with us. And once you're in a Facebook group, or once you're in the community, we can add you to a private WhatsApp pod. Our WhatsApp pods are super cool. We have like a directory of how many there are and what the topics are in the pod. So if you are specifically looking for a specific career channel to get into, you can join the pod for that. And every new opportunity that we have that's related to that pod will be dropped there. So you literally get a text from us in a very non-invasive, user-friendly way to let you know when something new has popped. Also, if you have new things, you can share. We want you to be giving back to the community too, because you're going to go far with this, and we want you to help others go far as well. Number 2, I love Act Now Education. My friend Jay runs Act Now Education, and this is kind of my official or unofficial endorsement of that community and their job board. It does have a lot of positions that are there, but I know Jay, and I know that he's a big advocate for the community and getting the positions matched. Number 3, don't hate me. Don't hate me. You're going to have a LinkedIn, and you need to be looking on LinkedIn. I know you're like, either you have one and you're like, I'm already doing it, or you're procrastinating it. Which one are you? Leave it in the comments. Are you procrastinating LinkedIn, or are you already there? You have to be there if you really want to get there. If you really want to get into the remote space quickly. And then we want you to, in the first part of this episode, I talked to you about list 3 things that you could do. What I also want you to do is list 3 to 10 companies that you could see yourself doing that for. And then I want you to be checking those companies and their actual career pages, okay? Their actual career pages. That means going to their website, scrolling down, clicking careers, joining their talent community, turning the star on their notifications, and getting alerts on their jobs. We will talk more about that later. Quick reminder, if you are juggling it all and you're finding it tough to make time for yourself, there is help. Talkspace Online Therapy is now covered by TRICARE, and you can get matched with a therapist who understands military life and start sessions virtually, just like I did, in under 3 hours, and have your first session in under 5 days at Talkspace.com/military. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about leveraging your network to find those remote positions. LinkedIn is a great place for you to leverage, and I'm going to talk to you exactly a very bare minimum basic approach to LinkedIn that will get you traction. Number 1, set up the profile. Make sure that you have a very strong profile cover photo, which is like your digital billboard. And I'll go ahead and plug right now, I have an episode of a live class that we were trained on how to do this that I will link below. And that episode will teach you how to have the most perfect profile photo, cover photo, headline combination to get attraction. The next thing that I want you to do is build 500 connections minimum as quickly as you can. However quickly you were able to build those 500, I want you to challenge yourself to do it again and again until you can create the biggest network that you feel comfortable mining. What you will then do is go into the search bar and search for the word hiring. You can also add the word remote or any of those keywords that we talked about earlier, like work from home, telecommute, hybrid. And then you can filter that search by your connections. Why is that important? Because when we want to leverage relationships on LinkedIn, people will pay more attention to you if you are a first degree connection. If you're like a second or third degree, it's harder to get them to pay attention to you. So let's say you got on there and you spent a week and you built up 2,500 connections, which is absolutely doable. It's literally just hitting a button. And let's say half of those were accepted. And so now you're sitting at about 1,250 connections. Now you can go and search those connections, see if anyone has made a post about something that they're hiring for. And I guarantee you, you will find a portion of those people who are hiring. Then you need to read the post, comment on it, engage. Even if it's not for you, tag a friend who you think it could be for. Get active there. You will ultimately find a position that you want to apply for. When you see it, someone will have made a post like, oh my gosh, we're hiring for a sales communications specialist. You're like, oh my gosh, that's me. I absolutely want to apply for that. Comment on it and say, hey, I'm so interested in this role at so-and-so. Send me the application link, or can I send you a DM to learn more? Start the conversation. That is called leveraging your network. That's going to make so-and-so, whoever made that post, we'll call her Sally. That's going to make Sally go to her recruiter or go to her manager and say, my friend Gina online wants to apply for this and I want the referral. So absolutely, can you tie her to me? You know why? Usually internal team members get cash bonuses for referring new team members. I've seen them as high as $3,000. They want you. So think about that. Think about leveraging LinkedIn. The next thing that we need to clarify, though, for remote is that it can potentially come with a small catch. So earlier, we talked about how if you are outside of the continental United States, there are going to be regulations and data and privacy issues that keep you from being able to tap into US-based remote work. Not completely impossible. We have another episode for that. But what I do want you to know is you need to read the job requisitions super thoroughly, very thoroughly, because there can be certain catches. Some employers, while the job may be remote, are only licensed or certified to work and do business in some states. So you do need to read the location requirements or exclusions. So it may say, we're hiring a remote executive assistant, but we're excluding New York and Washington and California because, candidly, that can be very difficult to meet all of the requirements of those states. And so if you are in one of those locations, that means that specific position does not apply to you. That doesn't mean there won't be another one that does, but it does waste your time and the employer's time if you do apply and you didn't pay attention to that detail. All right, another catch. Time zones. Remote can be anywhere, but it can also be restricted by time zones. So for example, we're on the East Coast and we want to hire someone, but if you are in Hawaii and you're working out of the Hawaii time zone, I might have that excluded on my requisition based on where I need you to be so that we can be productive in the same work hours. Be cognizant of that and pay attention. You can push back and ask, hey, would you consider me if I'm willing to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start my day when you're starting your day? Some employers will entertain that. And some employers just candidly prefer that you're in an opposite time zone. So don't see that as a barrier. Definitely see it as something to pay attention to in the job requisition. All right, licenses. So we see this a lot with our healthcare positions. And while the position can be completely remote, like we don't care where you are, you can be in Hawaii, Guam, Washington, New York, California, it doesn't matter, but you have to have a license in this state. That can be a catch too. And we don't want you to waste your time. We don't want you to waste the employer's time either. Pay attention to where the license requirements are. So they could say you need to be licensed in Florida, but you can work from anywhere. You got to have that Florida license to get it. All right, let's talk about avoiding scams. Unfortunately, and we see a lot of our entry-level community members who are working to get their first job kind of tend to be the biggest victims of our scams. There are scams. Unfortunately, they do exist, but I personally think they're really easy to spot if you know the warning signs. So warning sign number 1, you are asked to perform a chat text-based interview. And I think this is a really big trap for our younger people entering the workforce, especially our Gen Zs and anyone who's entry level, because a lot of the way that we do communicate is text-based and chat-based. So that can almost seem normal initially, but that's a really big red flag. I can promise you, there is no United States-based employer who's actually considering you for a team member who does not want to talk to you on the phone or have a video chat with you to see what you actually sound like and how you present yourself on camera. So if anyone is saying, this is a text-based interview and they invite you to a Google chat or a WhatsApp chat, or they just want to text you directly to your phone, disengage. They are trying to scam you. What are they scamming you for? They want to give you a fake job offer in exchange for you giving them your W-2 information, like your social security number, your bank account, or they may even tell you they want to send you a check. Can you cash this check for us? Well, that check is traceable. And so they want to know where it's getting cashed, and they're money laundering. So that there's just a lot going on there. Avoid text-based interviews. Number 2, no real video interaction before the offer. So this really kind of plays off of the text, but a text-based interview or simply a phone, like I'm just talking to you on the phone and I can't see you, could also be AI, someone using AI to speak to you on the phone, and using that to mask the fact that they haven't mastered the English language and they're not actually in the United States, period. So if you've not seen them on the phone, if you've not seen them in a video call, know what their office looks like, and you can kind of validate, this is a real person with, real flesh and real skin, that is a red flag, especially if it happens that they give you an offer before that happens. So one quick call and then you get an offer, one quick text and then you get an offer. Here, we're going to give you this amount of money, sign here. And you've not seen them over video, red flag. Poor grammar or strange email addresses. So let's pretend that someone from, who did I get recently? I want to say it's Wayfair or PayPal. I have someone telling me that they work for PayPal recruiting and they want to hire me. And their email address is paypal@gmail.com, or PayPal spelled differently in the end of the URL. Any single mistake is an indication that you are about to fall victim to a scam. Poor grammar, if they've sent you a text message or an email and anything sounds off, like their apostrophe doesn't look like it's in the right place. They used and instead of or, they use an instead of a, where it should be, grammatically leaning into a versus an. In that situation, you know that basic grammar is something that we have tools, we have ChatGPT, we have all of these things in our day-to-day work environment that prevent us from making little mistakes like that. So if there are just tiny little mistakes, red flag. Offers that come too quickly or sound too good to be true. And that's, okay, you had one interaction and now you have an offer, scam, okay? Or the money is outrageous. Like, we're gonna pay you $900 a week to sit at home and twiddle your thumbs, scam. And then messages that don't use your name. Anyone who reaches out to you and is like, hey, I pulled your resume from Indeed.com and I think you would be a great fit for this role. Did they use your name? Did they say, hey, Elizabeth, I reviewed your resume. I liked this specific part of your work experience and I think you'd be a great fit for this role. If they didn't call you by name and pull out something about your work history that they enjoyed, scam. Okay, mass text message, mass scam. Just to remember, when you start applying for remote work, your information does get out there. So you've got to be sharp. You've got to be sharp and start verifying everything and protect yourself. Number 5, all valid job boards. So that includes Indeed, Monster, Flex Jobs. Use them all. You're going to find one that does well or better for your industry. Also, obviously, of course, MSEP. All of these need to be in your arsenal. All of them need to be in your arsenal. They all do different things well. And so based on what you want to get into and where you're headed, you need to be comfortable. I'm going to spend 10 minutes today on VirtForce. Then I'm going to go to LinkedIn and spend 20 minutes there. I'm going to go to Act Now and see if there's anything new there. And then head over to all of these other places to validate that you are using every tool in the tool belt. You're going to do great. Go dig into them today. All right, I'm going to do a recap for you really quick, but before we close out, do not forget that TRICARE is now covering Talkspace online therapy. So whether it's for you, your spouse, or your children over the age of 13, remember, it only takes about 3 hours to get matched to licensed therapists who truly get the military lifestyle. Visit them at Talkspace.com/military. That link is also in our show notes. All right, my recap. We talked about how to find remote work that does not suck. And so we laid some basic strategy for you today. You should be walking away with some action items, bestie. All right. Number 1, you are supposed to be giving me 3 things that you could potentially do. Put it in the comments. Exercise this. 3 potential things that you see yourself doing. Oh, I could do marketing. I could do taxes. I could do project management. I could do HR. I could do whatever it is, algebra. I could do all of these things. So that needs to be something that energizes you, where you feel good in that space. And then I want you to give me like 3 to 10 companies that you idolize, in your head. You're like, oh man, I would just absolutely love to work for Apple, or I would love to work for Samsung. Whatever it is, give me those 3 to 10 companies. I'm going to tell you, we'll aim for those throughout our search. You may not end up there, but having a target and having a goal would be awesome. An anecdote for you, I wanted to work for Stars back in 2014. I've talked about this consistently and how I used my target of trying to end up at Stars. I went through 8 weeks of interviews for them. Did I get hired? No. That's okay. But you will get very close to your goal. And ultimately, what is supposed to happen for you will happen for you. Comment Stars below if you want me to tell you about how I almost got hired there. Okay, the other thing is we need to leverage, and we cannot avoid LinkedIn. We can't avoid it. We've got to do it. If you have not signed up yet, sign up, and also tell me in the comments whether you are on LinkedIn or not. If you want, you can drop your LinkedIn profile and I'll go follow you, and you can come follow me too. Our next recap is know what job boards you're going to be using and know the power of the boutique boards like VirtForce. All right. understand what kind of remote work is being offered. And I gave you the keys today to understanding what catches there could be: state restrictions, license restrictions, time zone restrictions, CONUS versus not CONUS positions. Think about those. And the VirtForce job board, we do indicate on all of our listings if it's OCONUS friendly or not. So think about that. And then protect yourself from the scams. Know what they are. Know what they are. Know what they're after. Think to yourself, is anyone trying to get my bank account information? Are they trying to get me to cash a check? Do they want me to give them my social security number? Think about that, okay? All right, call to action for you all today is, if you've not signed up for VirtForce yet, do it. Stop procrastinating. This is your year to stop lurking in the shadows. This is your year to make it yours. I also want to say, anything that we have for you, if it's not quite right for you, share it. Share it with someone who it could be right for. Thank you so much for watching my military lifestyle show. If you found this topic helpful, hit subscribe and share this with your military spouse bestie. And I really do love getting your comments and interacting with you. So I do personally respond to them. And if you comment on this episode, I will reply back with answers and advice. Thanks for subscribing. See you next time.